The Laowa 12mm T2.9 Zero-D is probably the holy grail of wide lenses because Zero-D literally means zero distortion. But does the name hold up to the hype? Let's check it out. Let me start by saying this. Laowa has a really impressive track record with their photo lenses. You can check some of those reviews up here. I was thrilled to hear that they're starting a line of cine lenses. The Laowa 12mm T2.9 Zero-D Cine is the first of what will hopefully be a great lineup of cine lenses. If this lens is any indication for what their cine line is going to end up looking like, I think we're all in for a treat. As usual with Laowa, you have a nice sturdy aluminum housing. It is a relatively short lens and it's not very heavy. It only weighs 675 grams. You have an industry standard gears on both the iris and the focus. Just as with any good cine lens, the iris is declicked, and the focus throw is nice and long, about 270 degrees. One thing that really stood out to me about the lens is that there are no protruding front element. I mean, look at most 12-ish millimeter lenses, they pretty much bulge. And you would think that the front element would be bulging out the front here too, but nope, they managed to contain it. My only disappointment there is that even though there's no protruding element, there's actually no filter thread, but more on that later. You also get a nice aluminum front cover for the lens. I generally like it, but I'll say one thing about it. I'm kind of bummed that there isn't just a tad more friction to secure the cap there. It's kind of a bummer that it falls off so easily, especially when you go to grab it from your bag. And that's about it for the build, but there's something else. They give you a Pelican case. This is a full-on, crush-proof, waterproof case with pre-cut EVA foam that includes shim for adjusting your flange distance and a step-up ring from 102 to industry standard 114 millimeters. So how does a 12mm zero distortion field of view look like? Honestly, pretty, I guess, normal? You really don't feel it's 12 millimeters wide because of how straight all of the lines are. I mean, at first glance, when you're looking at it, it kind of just feels like a wide lens, like a 16 or a 24. It's when you start getting closer to things, that's when it starts getting super funky. Using a lens this wide makes close things look huge. Think Stanley Kubrick's The Shining Corridor scene. It's not an everyday lens, and I mean, you wouldn't whip this out for an interview or something, but when you're looking for that specific look, it's nothing short of amazing. Let's move on to look and feel of the lens. This has to be one of my favorites yet, starting with the color. There's a really nice, punchy micro contrast that's really reminiscent of those famous Zeiss pops that you get from like the Milvis or the Batis. In terms of sharpness, you're looking at a pretty sharp lens. At T2.9, the lens is pretty amazing. I mean, I'm not saying there's no difference when you stop down, but honestly, without blowing it up, it's kind of hard to tell. The corners are a bit softer, but that's understandable with the lens that's this wide. Not bad by any means, but I would stop down to 5.6 if you're craving that super clean edge. Vignette-wise, no complaints here. There's a bit at T2.9, but stopping to about 4, you'll get a pretty clear image from corner to corner. By now, you all know I love a good flare, but note this, at 12 millimeters, the chances of getting a light leak are pretty high, especially if you're not working with a matte box. There's a pretty high chance of ghosting with a lens this wide. Avoiding flares is going to be hard, but in any case, it's still a really nice flare, and if you do end up getting it on purpose, you'll enjoy it. Last but certainly not least, the bokeh. Remember we were talking about the 12mm being a funky lens? Well, the bokeh is really funky. And a kind of stretch bokeh at the corners, which has its own cool feel to it. Really does have a unique look to it. So, final thoughts. Laowa, Laowa, Laowa. You've done it again. An affordable, all things considered, cine lens. This has to be a new record of some sort in the wide-angle department, and at killer quality. This bad boy is potentially a great asset to any creator or filmmaker's kit. And I think if you're in the market for a wide cine lens, you're going to have a hard time finding a better deal than this $1,500 lens. The lens is available for purchase right now in a variety of mounts, including the PL1. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, make sure you mash that like button and consider subscribing to our channel for some more awesome news, content, updates, and reviews. I'm Adam Frimmer from DIYPhotography.net, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.